back. We're going to do the inside of 1846, and we're going to start right here. First, we have our battery disconnect. It should be left in the on position at all times, unless you're going to be putting in storage, which you're not going to be, so leave it in the on position. This switch here is for your compartments. Inside each compartment there's a light. This is the master light for all of them. Right here is your step switch. If you want to keep the steps out while your doors are closed and your engine's off, you hit the switch and they'll stay out all the time. Otherwise, every time you open the door, the steps will retract and go out. Also, you have your awning. The awning switch is inside in the cabinet above here, which I'll show you once we step inside. Okay? Step on inside. We look down here, we had our fire extinguisher. Over here we have our awning switch. We just push it in and out. Alright, this will only work when the engine is off. It's a safety feature. And this black switch over here in the corner is the light switch, the LED light switch for the awning. Okay? Inside this compartment you also have your DVD player for this TV here to the right. And you have the bunk lift. Now when you use the bunk lift, you have to make sure that the ignition is off. When you run the bed up, you want to make sure you stop about ½ an inch from the top. That way you can put in your travel pins. There's a little slot and a hole up in here. Goes straight in, pops into place. So you'll have this side in and this side in while you're traveling. You push the little blue button on the back to release it. Okay? There's also a ladder underneath for when this is down. When you let the bunk down, it'll stop about right here. Okay? Alright, coming to the front, look at our dash. To use the LCI electronic leveling, you simply have all your rooms in before you actually do any of your leveling. You turn the button to the on. If it doesn't work, of course, you must have your emergency brake on, and you could also turn your engine on. Alright, you turn it on and you hit auto, and it'll automatically level the whole thing out. Once it's level, then you can run all your rooms out. Before you bring your jacks up, you go ahead and bring all your rooms back in, and you turn this back on and you hit retract all jacks. And everyone must be seated or calm because there may be a slight jolt before when it starts to go down. If for some reason all these lights light up, you push all 4 of these buttons simultaneously to reset it. Okay? Right here we have our dash fans, our sunshade for the front, our other shade. There's 2 shades up in here. You have a sunshade and the night shade. The controls are both right here. You have your lights, dash components. You have your mirror, heat, and mirror controls on the left side here. Normal set cruise control. You have your auxiliary start. What your auxiliary start is, if for example you left your lights on and the whole RV goes dead, well, there's an extra set of batteries called the house batteries that'll give your chassis battery a jump. You simply hold this button, and at the same time you turn your key and you'll get a jump from that house battery. Here's a gen start right here. You're going to hold the stop button until the green light comes on, and then you're going to hold the start until it's all the way on. There's also another gen start button in the back. Fog lights, radio. Radio can work while you're parked and the key is off. You just must turn this switch on right here. Here's your backup camera, radio, air conditioning, plugs. Got a couple USB types in here. Air conditioning, cup holders, and a fold-out desk with a couple of 12-volt outlets. Alright, covers everything in the front. Okay, so where our TV here is, on the side you can access the back of the TV so you can get to the HDMIs. Okay, here we have our sink. These are real stone countertops, so be careful with them. If you have to, please put them away into the drawers while you're traveling. Otherwise, keep them in place. Alright? To light the stove, take these out. You simply choose the aisle that you want to go to, and you hit the spark, and you get fired. Okay, that works for all three. If you want to light the oven, you must turn your dial to pilot. Right on the top here it says push and hold. While you're holding that with your left hand or whichever, you take the long lighter and you find the little stem in the back up in here and you light that. You hold that light to it while you're holding this for maybe 30 seconds to a minute. After 30 seconds to a minute, you remove your flame. If it stays lit, then you can dial in your temperature. Alright? Full-size microwave. Your exhaust and your light are here. You have storage up here, all around. We typically keep our remote controls in here. Okay, these are also soft close, so be very careful not to break them. Storage up here also. Let's turn this into a bed. Take this down. And with this, be very careful. This is kind of tricky. Sometimes it requires two people, but you simply lift up on it. Let this fold out till it stops. Raise this up. And we lower it down nice and slow, not to ruin the floor. And you fold this down. Then you take that back cushion right there, open it up, and you just drop it in the middle. Okay? Just like that. Now you have a bed. Reverse operation. Raise this up. Carefully lean this back up. Lower this down. And then grab it from the back. Just like so. Be very careful to do that correctly because these beds are quite expensive to replace if you damage them. So please do it just that carefully. Alright, to turn this into a bed, you must take this table, wiggle it off of the pole. Once it comes off the pole, pull the pole out of the floor, and then you'll take the table and you'll slide it in or drop it in right into this little arm. Okay, it may require you to move these cushions out of the way to get this in there, but once the table is in there, it fills the gap, then you take the back cushions and you fill in the rest of the bed. Alright? Make sure if you have a larger person sitting on this, they don't sit right in this spot as it is unsupported. Okay, your light switch is up here. Okay, you also have another light switch for those over there. Over here, on the side, we have a couple of light switches. Alright. Our refrigerator. Our refrigerator is going to stay cold while you guys are driving. There's an inverter that makes that happen. That's right over here. That's what this does, this Magnum. What it does is it converts 12 volts to 120 volts. You may see several lights flashing, and that's okay. It's just a charging cycle. It starts with bulk, absorb, and then goes to float. So don't be alarmed if you see any yellow lights. However, if it does go into fault, turn it off, turn it back on. Okay? I think the key to making this work properly is to make sure that you turn your generator on first and then you turn that on. Okay? Now remember, if your generator's off and you're at a campsite, the battery that is supporting your refrigerator is only going to last so long before it starts to die. So don't think that just because you have 120 volts that it's going to last forever. I'd say give it maybe 3 or 4 hours and it's time to start your generator back up or plug back into a campsite. Okay? Under the fridge we have our circuit breaker panel. There's all your 110 side here and your 12 volts. If one of these blows, then a corresponding red light will come on and you'll know which one to change. Above here we have a vent. While you're stationary, these are okay to use. They're access to the outside, so if it starts to rain, make sure you close these up. Okay, and don't drive with them up in the air. They're made of thin plastic and you may break it. Over here we have our air conditioning thermostat. Use the modes to select what you want, whether you want it to be in heat mode or cool mode. And obviously the up and down arrows are for your temperature. We have an energy command. What this does is it will charge your battery. It'll turn the generator on and charge your batteries while you're gone if it senses that batteries get low, or if you just set it on a timer. But if you're not familiar with this right here, don't use it at all. This is quite complicated, and so that's why we're just going to kind of bypass this. All right, to our control components here. Let's see, we got our water heater, you got gas and electric. All right, so what you're going to use is you're going to turn on your gas, and it's going to heat that 6 to 8 gallons of hot water up in about 20 minutes. All right, it's going to use your propane. So you don't have to have your generator on for your gas to work. Now, if you want the electric side of it to work, you have to use your generator, or you'll be plugged in at a campsite. All right, it's one or the other, not both. TV signal. While you're if you go to a park somewhere, you can use their cable, or you can use the antenna. That's the booster signal for the antenna on the roof. All right, you probably want to use the booster antenna most of the time. Water pump. So you have about 40 to 60 gallons of fresh water on board. If you want to use any of that water, you'll have to have your water pump on. All right, and once you get to a campsite, if you have water supplied by the campsite, then you can use their water, and you won't need to have the water pump on. All right, the generator. Here again is our stop and our start. To start the generator, you're going to hold the stop button until the blue light comes on, and then you're going to start it and hold that start button until it's all the way on. You also have your auxiliary tanks right here, your black and your gray. So that just switches between both of them so you can see what the statuses are. And then you have your tank statuses from empty to full, and then your battery from low to charged. So you have your propane, which is on 2/3. You have your battery, which is being charged right now because our generator is on. Fresh water. When it's full, it'll have 4 lights. Black tank, that's your toilet. It's empty. And your gray would be empty, and then the auxiliary would be empty. All right, here are the hour meters for your generator. And let's see here, it says make sure driver's seat is in the forward position before operating slide rooms. All right, so before you move out that slide room, you need to make sure that driver's seat is pulled forward, because you don't want the slide out, that wood trim, to brush up against the back of the driver's seat, because it'll probably tear that vinyl. Okay, right now it looks brand new, and the trim is this whole piece from here all the way to the end and down to the other side of the couch. Okay. To run that slide out, you have slide room control back over here. It says in and out. One slide goes to one slide out switch goes to the other, and the other one here is the bunk wall. Make sure that when you do run these out or in, there is no one riding on any of the furniture, because these things have enough weight on them as it is, and they don't need any extra persons sitting there going for the ride. All right. Oh, down below we have our LP monitor. LP monitor is going to sense any kind of propane. It also senses hairspray and any kind of aerosols. So if it does start to go on alarm, don't be scared. It may not be a gas. It may just be whatever is being sprayed in the air, and there's a reset button down here. In the bathroom, you have light switch, you have another vent, then the fan switch. You have 4 rolls of toilet paper. This is septic safe, RV safe. Please use this only. And then you have 2 bottles of chemicals. You're probably going to see 2 of these smaller bottles. What you'll do is, before you actually leave for the trip, before the first person uses the toilet, go ahead and put a half a bottle of water in, half a bottle of this treatment in. Go ahead and fill that up, let it drop in there. That pre-treats your tank. When you dump your tanks outside, go ahead and put a fresh half a bottle in to that empty tank. Another thing that we like to cover is, when you're at a campsite and you have your sewage hooked up on the outside, make sure that you let that pressure build up inside your black tank before you pull it. Some people like to have it open all the time and think that they'll never have to drain it, but all the solid waste that goes into the toilet will just sit at the bottom. So we need to let that water build up before we actually flush it all out. All right. You also have a GFI reset here and a faucet here for your sink. Over here in front of me, I have bunk beds. So we have a clothes rack right here, and pillow, TV. This is the DVD player. The DVD goes on the side here. To turn off the light, it's just a little touch in the middle. The same thing goes for the bottom side. Right. The clothes rack would typically be used if someone wanted to lift the bed up and actually move it out of the way, but since you have a TV here, please do not try to lift the bed up because we don't want to mess up space with the TV. You'll just have to kind of hang what you need here if you decide to use that. Alright, we have a sliding door. Release is here. Slides back. Make sure this is in place while you're driving so that the door doesn't get broken or do any damages to the wall on the other end here. Inside our bedroom, we have more storage. We have a queen size bed, electrical outlets. There's another there's another thermostat for the other roof air, another light switch here, and we have cabinets. Let's see here. Another access to the back of the TV, another DVD player inside, and all kinds of storage. In the rear bathroom, we have our shower. The shower releases with this little switch here. Slides into place. And you can go in like that. Alright. When you're traveling, it must be closed. Because this is real glass right here. It will break. So make sure that is snapped into place at all times. And the bathroom is going to work the same way as the other one. When you need to flush the toilet, simply step and the water will flow. Make sure you have your water pump on if you're not connected to a water source. Alright. You also have another fan and vent over there in the bathroom. Okay, I think I've covered everything in here. Oh, we have these latches also for the refrigerator. Make sure you keep these in place while you're driving. You don't want the doors to open up when you make a turn. Alright. I think that covers everything. So, oh, one more thing.